If you remember my video about the 109 update, I was explaining how this car in particular felt as if it got a bit slower. Some fields in the setup screen have completely new values, so there was some work to do in this. After some changes, I managed to get the car right back to where it was in terms of pace, so I'm going to share this new setup and all I learned along the way. It's quite likely that I'm not working much further in this car, as the Ferrari Formula 1 cars have arrived to consoles too, and this will keep me busy. This car still looks like a great league platform with all these liveries, tire compounds and the simplicity of the power unit, so I might get back into it. This is a solid race setup with low tire wear levels for me, but trying to get a reliable measure of speed, I started doing qualifying sims in Barcelona. I remember perfectly I was doing flat 26s before the big update. After a while and some small changes, I managed to recover that sort of pace, so I thought I had made enough progress to be worth sharing it. By the third 2-lap qualifying attempt, I had got twice into the 25s. It didn't take perfect laps to get there. I'll comment with text how every corner went in my last attempt. Now I leave you with that lap. In the last video, someone in the comments shared a link to a website with a leaderboard, and I used it as reference to see how good this was. In a matter of 6 hot laps, without nailing a special lap, I was 2 tenths away from the best lap set without the stability control, by Andrea Fabini. First place is 1.5 tenths farther away, but it was set with stability control and bizarre track temperatures. I just used the default ones. To make sure this worked as a solid baseline and it wasn't a one-trick pony for Barcelona, I took it to many other GP tracks and it drives more than good enough. I tested at Imola, Nürburgring and Silverstone and it always felt very solid. It is a good starting point for all the usual circuits you will go to with this car. This game seems to ask for bigger setup changes to adapt to different circuits than Project Cars did, but this setup will still save you a lot of work compared to start from zero. You can get something really good by just playing with the front swaybar to correct whatever feels wrong with the balance in a different track. Now, let's go ahead and have a look at the setup itself. The brake bias is something you'll want to change as you drive. The default 60-40 works well enough. This is one car where you really want to avoid rear lockups, so pick something that will make the front lock earlier, it's just safer. For high downforce tracks, pick a significantly higher value for the rear. Don't be shy with the rear wing. This car benefits a lot from high settings in tracks like the ones I mentioned before. The high part of the front wing bar is almost useless. It will just give you oversteer in high speed corners. They have fixed the gearing and the bars are not full of useless values anymore. Just make sure to avoid long gaps between gears and remember that at most tracks DRS is free to use everywhere. For the diff, I use lower values for power than before. I never use traction control in this car, and this feels better, especially on worn tires. I use the minimum value for the coast bar now. It goes well with my brake bias choices. I locked the front end earlier, so I can take all the agility of the low diff values. These are my values for the suspension screen. Remember that the right rear camber will back out like this often, so always check it and stay symmetric. Remember to raise the car if you are going to take a heavy fuel load, and play with the front swaybar if the balance feels off in a different track. Increase the front toe out, negative values, if you don't get good direction changes in places like Mugello with many chicanes. Sometimes I go one click softer for the front springs if I cannot get rid of understeer. Now we'll see the damper screen. This is where the big changes are, as the ranges for many items are completely different to the ones we had before the update. Compared to the new default values, I have gone for stiffer front damping. It is a bit safer over the inside curves, and it allows me to turn in with total confidence on the rear end. If you feel the car isn't good changing direction, you can try playing with the front bump values, and as I mentioned before, the front toe values too. And that's it. I hope you can make good use of it if you enjoy driving this car. Thanks for watching.